Thank you, Pastor Arthur. Next up, lastly, we have John Carpay, the president of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms.
Hey. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is great to see Canadians exercising their constitutional freedoms to stand up against the tyranny of a medical dictatorship that is using unscientific, coercive pressure that violates our charter right to bodily autonomy. This is the culmination. The worst part of the 2 weeks to flatten the curve has been the last 19 months. We've had 19 months of violations of charter freedoms. We've had our freedom to move and travel has been violated, remains violated. Our freedom to assemble peacefully. The Justice Center is representing people that got $1,000, $2,000 tickets just for being peacefully outdoors at a protest like this one, which is a fundamental charter freedom to be able to protest peacefully, to assemble peacefully, and we've had governments violating that charter freedom. The freedom of association includes things like being able to spend Christmas with your parents, hanging out with friends, playing sports, going to a church, a temple, a mosque, going to a restaurant, going to a pub. These are all expressions of freedom of association that have been violated now for 19 months. They're still violated today. Even the vaccinated people could only have members from one other family come over at Thanksgiving. So even the vaccinated are getting their charter rights and freedoms violated right now.
But a full stadium of hockey fans.
Full stadium of hockey fans. That's part of freedom of association, freedom of peaceful assembly. Now, under the charter, the government can, under certain circumstances, if they meet certain legal tests, the government does have the right in certain situations to temporarily violate charter freedoms, but it has to be backed up by a pressing concern, it has to be backed up by science, there's a bunch of legal criteria. What we've seen in the last 19 months, it's based on lies. The biggest lie told to the world by Dr. Neil Ferguson in March of 2020 that COVID was the unusually deadly killer. It was going to be like the Spanish flu of 1918. Tens of millions of people would die. Well, that's proven to be false. The lie that there's no treatments available when there's widespread studies on ivermectin and other treatments for COVID. So it's a big lie. The lie that lockdowns save lives. Well, you know, Dina Hinshaw and Jason Kenney can say that 1,000 times, but saying it 1,000 times doesn't make it true. There's no evidence that lockdowns have saved lives. The lie that lockdowns cause just, tiny, eensy-weensy, insignificant, minimal little harms, that's not true. And the big lie that the healthcare system is being overrun by COVID, when the truth is we've had big problems in Canadian healthcare for decades that the politicians have failed to fix. It's not caused by COVID. And now with the vaccines, we've got more lies. The vaccines are going to get rid of lockdowns. Remember that? Yeah. We got 70% of the people taking the vaccine, and then we'll have no more lockdowns. Well, that was a big lie. The lie that the vaccine stops the spread. Well, we know from the most heavily vaccinated country in the world, from Israel, 83% vaccinated, and COVID is rampant, and the Delta variant is rampant, and people are in hospitals. So that's the other big lie, that vaccines are going to somehow stop the spread. And now we've got the big lie that the unvaccinated are a bunch of vile lepers that should be ashamed. The public vilification of a minority, saying that they are dangerous disease spreaders. This has been said about other minorities in history, that they are dangerous disease spreaders, and it never ends well. And this is not based on science. So what do we have to do? We have to resist peacefully, but we have to resist. We have to remember the highest law of the land is the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, not the health orders of Dina Hinshaw. Dina Hinshaw, who recently lied to the Alberta public by saying that a 14-year-old had been killed by COVID, died of COVID, when in fact he tragically died of brain cancer. Now, she did the right thing to apologize to the suffering that she caused to the family by speaking out these falsehoods. She still hasn't apologized to the people of Alberta for spreading falsehoods. The court actions, the Justice Centre, the most painful thing for me every day is having to say no to so many people that are on the verge of getting fired. They're on the verge of getting kicked out of university. We've got 14 lawyers, which is great, but that's for a country of 38 million people. We're focusing our efforts on suing governments. We're taking the Ontario government to court over vaccine passports. We are currently working on a statement of claim against Alberta Health Services. And still, we don't have enough lawyers to take on the things we'd like to take on. So the important thing, to get rid of the tyranny, we have to resist. We have to remember perseverance. We have to remember that it's better to die standing than to live on your knees. We have to be willing to suffer, as many of you in this audience, including Pastor Art, spending time in jail. We have to have that willingness to suffer. We have to display courage. And we have to remember, this is not a problem that's going to go away in the next few days, the next few weeks, the next few months. It's going to be a fight. It's going to take certainly more than a year, I would think. It might take 2 or 3 years. It might take longer. But we have to have the virtue of perseverance to outlast the enemy. We have to change public opinion, because I wish I could promise you the court actions are all going to succeed. I don't know. You never know. You cannot predict ahead of time. But to the extent that the court actions don't succeed, you need to change public opinion. So if you haven't already done it, get a brochure. There's a whole box of them here. Get a stack, hand them out, distribute them door to door, put them in mailboxes. We have to change public opinion. If we don't change public opinion, then nothing else is going to matter in that way. I have some good news. The good news is we are going to win. And there's a reason for that. Because truth always triumphs over lies. Sometimes it takes time, but at the end, truth is a ferocious lion. You speak the truth, you're setting a lion loose. Truth conquers all. Truth will triumph over the lies. We have to be persevering because we don't know how long it's going to take. And in the same way that truth triumphs over lies, good triumphs over evil. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. And so I commend you and commend yourselves for being here today to speak up for truth, to speak against the injustice that Mount Royal University, shame on Mount Royal University for the injustice that you're perpetrating on these students, and shame on every other intolerant and anti-science university that is imposing this unscientific discrimination on a minority and bullying and intimidating a minority after preaching for so many years that bullying is wrong. And now we've got the universities bullying students. So I commend you for your courage in standing up against the injustice that MRU and other universities are perpetrating against students. Don't give up, don't quit, don't give in, keep up the fight, and we are going to win at the end. Thank you.